to share a little bit about the process of writing your book. Are you still game for that?
Yes.
Because you got these principles like 9 or 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I sure did.
And it's taken a while to write the book. Why do you think it took so long?
Well, I think it took so long in like the high level vision of it. It took so long because I needed to integrate the principles. Like, that's the truth. But the more practical piece, I think, is that, and why I really appreciated what you did for me in the editing and in the pulling 9 years of writing into at least a couple manuscripts, is that having your critical eye to see, I knew something wasn't making sense. Like, I had the principles, I had my understanding of the principles, and then I had the stories of women that I interviewed. And Michelle is amazing, says Karen. I agree.
Karen, you're leaving comments.
And I had these stories, and then I had very personal accounts of my own life, and I knew that all those things were not making sense together. And even though I didn't want to take anything out necessarily, like, it all seemed like it was of value, but I didn't know how to put it together. And I think that what you did that was helpful to me is being able to say, no, this doesn't work, this works, or this works here, and this works here.
Yeah. And just to be clear, that was with my team of editors and myself as well. And so I think it is important as writers that we all get outside eyes on our writing. However, not necessarily from our sisters, mothers, or best friends, although I love you all, but from someone who's a little more objective and doesn't have a personal vested interest one way or another about what your writing looks like.
Yeah.
Because that's tough. And I see with writers very often they go to like their best friend to help edit, and it doesn't really work because you'll trigger things with your friends that an objective outside editor will just look at it and say, this works, this doesn't work. So I think that process is important. How did it feel, though, when you got the work back from the editor and it's like slash and burn time? How did that feel? Because I've always
well, there were definitely some moments that I was like, what? But really going through I knew that I couldn't, I had no perspective of what modern readers would take, like what was really beneficial to them and what wasn't. I was so wrapped up in the interviews, in my own story. Like, to me, it was like this like delicious novel, like I get it. Like, we are modern women, right? We are modern people who, maybe had I had this 9 years ago, it would have been this thick, right? And that would have been okay for the market at that time. But now people like want it like that. And the other part that I appreciated about what you brought to it was that that you're a marketer. So you sort of understood that there was a dual, if not triple purpose to the book. I mean, partly it was like, yes, I want to share this information. This information is important, but also it's a foundational piece for my work for people who want to continue to grow with these principles and the way that I bring them to life.
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting because when I work with some clients and they know that it's a foundational piece, then they feel like it needs to be sales copy or links everywhere to go here. If you want more information, click here and go buy this product, or click here. And actually, your book actually reads like a book. I was really pleased that it wasn't one big sales page about your other master classes. It really was the principles. It's a book. And then at the end, if you want more information. you can click here to find it. And so that's refreshing when I work with so many authors and writers who really just want to promote. So
Yeah.
I appreciated that about your work. You have 2 more books, right?
Yes.
Let's just jump in. How are you feeling about those? Are you in overwhelm? Are you excited?
I'm excited about taking the conversation a little bit more edgier, and talk a little bit more about politics and sex and that really deep power that we hold. And I am also excited about talking about commerce and sacred commerce and what that looks like using these principles and also utilizing the masculine. So those are kind of the things that I'm really I'm excited to continue to talk about. And even as we were going through the editing, I would be on a plane and I would just start writing some of the stuff on politics or some of the stuff on patriarchy and then some of the stuff on sacred commerce and what does it mean to be a modern woman, be devoted to something bigger than ourselves and still be able to pay our mortgage, save for retirement, go on vacation, all these things that they're here for the taking for us. And how do we, because I know a lot of us feel a little bit, we're learning to be more comfortable with wealth as, light workers or whatever, people want to call themselves. Even life coaches sometimes feel a little bit like, well, is it okay if my work is more spiritual for me to take money? So that's something I'm excited to talk about more.
Good. How was the process? Because I know we worked on the cover a lot. Can you just talk about how the process of choosing your cover? And I will say, I just want to say one thing about it.
Yes.
You kind of held your ground around what you wanted, right? Because my team and I presented several options and you're like, no, I want this. And I love that because you were clear about what you wanted. You were willing to look at some other options because we always like to play with creative ideas. But then you were like, no, this is what I want. Are you happy with how it came out? And talk about that process.
Yes, I am. Well, here's the thing is these concepts are a little bit more universal than just for someone who enjoys goddess work, right? So I had to, and I'm not even, I mean, oh, sure, we might have some goddess pieces here, but I'm not even like a devotee of something. So I needed it to reflect something that was modern. And yeah, I'm very picky. Like I'm married to a photographer. Visual is super, super important. And I'm kind of ruthless about it. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you rolling with my pickiness. But I love the process that you invited me into in selecting the cover because there was a lot of ideas that I had and do you want me to talk about the process that
if you want to.
Yeah, because I thought it was really cool and really practical to put the different images that I was thinking about and have people vote on it and have people say which one they liked. And then you asked me, we'll go through that and really look at the people who feel a connection to your work, who have invested in your work, rather than the passerby who's, just like giving an opinion to give an opinion. And when I did that, whoa, the numbers were totally different.
Yeah, interesting. Isn't that interesting? That's like people who say, to me, well, I've sold to everybody I know. And I'm like, well, how big is your list? It's like 100 people. It's my friends and family and people I went to school with. And you really got to get out beyond your inner circle. Who is your support system? Who are the people that are in your everyday life? And market to a bigger audience. And that's what we were looking for. Who are those people outside that inner circle who relate to your work or who will be relating to your work, and how do we connect with them? So that's just important for marketing overall. Yeah. And so, we played with your image a little bit and we played with
Uh-huh.
other images a little bit. I love the way it came out. I think it's beautiful. Hold it up
Yeah,
again.
yeah, I'm really happy with it. I mean, and I certainly didn't want it to be like my face in the cover necessarily, but what was so funny was that I would share it with people and they were like, "No, I want to see you."
Yeah.
It's like, "Okay."
You have
And so,
you exude the modern priestess energy,
thank you.
right? Yeah. So I think it's an energy that is inviting and vibratorily magnetic.
Thank you. So yes, people wanted to see me on the cover, but I didn't want it to be so obvious. So we just made it a little, more, what's the word?
Representative.
Yes. Yeah, and I love it. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. So thank you.
Cool. So the next step for you is promoting and marketing.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to go speak in a couple of days, and you've
Mhm.
got cases of books you're going to sell out at your conference. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Sharon left a comment. Sharon says, bringing a dance of harmony into the personal and collective spectrum, not necessarily balance, harmony, not only in power issues, but with all. Can't wait to read your book. Yeah,
Thank you,
good.
Sharon.
Nice. All right. Anything else you'd like to share?
About, I mean,
About anything. About life, the
and I
universe,
think,
politics, sex, commerce. Let's dig in.
well, I want to say one last thing too about working with you and your team, and it was that I got an email at 1 a.m. last night, and you guys were really vested in this project, and I could really feel that, and I could really feel how much you cared about bringing this to life, and thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank